In the latest in the turmoil that has taken over Bangladesh, Sajeeb Wazed, the son of the ousted Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, he has accused the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus of weaponizing the judiciary. He has also said that they are carrying out a political witch hunt against Sheikh Hasina as well as the Awami League leadership there. These allegations, they come 2 days after the Yunus government has sent a diplomatic note to New Delhi seeking Hasina's extradition from India. Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal has issued arrest warrants for Sheikh Hasina and several former cabinet ministers, advisors and military and civil officials for what they say are crimes against humanity and genocide. Now, in his post, Wazed said that the judges and prosecutors appointed by the unelected Yunus-led regime to conduct farcical trial process through International Crimes Tribunal makes it a political witch hunt that forsakes justice and marks another ongoing onslaught to persecute Awami League leadership. Meanwhile, both Wazed and Hasina, they are facing a corruption probe as well for allegedly embezzling $5 billion from the Russia-backed Rupur nuclear power plant project, allegations which Sajeeb Wazed has denied. Now, amid the growing violence against minority Hindus in Bangladesh, Yunus is also facing pressure from the US to ensure the protection of minorities. After US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, he held a call with the interim government chief. In fact, I'm also currently joined by our guests at this moment. I have with me Major Reza Ul Karim, EB retired researcher and analyst from Dhaka. I also have with me Veena Sikri, former ambassador to Bangladesh. A very warm welcome to both of you on NDTV. My first question to you, Ms. Sikri, is, the former ambassador to Bangladesh's foreign ministry, it has said that it has yet to receive a response from India on its extradition request. How will India at this moment handle this dilemma?
Well, I think our government has been very correct and has said that there is no comment at the moment, because I think this is quite amazing to think that Bangladesh is already talking in terms of a reminder letter, when actually the first letter is barely 24 or 48 hours old. And I think we must appreciate that an extradition process is an extremely complicated legal and judicial process. And to say that just on the basis of a diplomatic note verbal that the Bangladesh unelected, constitutionally invalid regime of Professor Muhammad Yunus is saying that now send her back because here it is. Where is the trial? Where is the result of the legal process? There is absolutely no evidence that there has been any judicial trial or any completed judicial progress. All we know is all kinds of accusations are there about blaming Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for various acts of commission and omission. But there is absolute legal process, and there's a tribunal where the judge, the head of the tribunal, has been replaced by the present unelected regime of Professor Muhammad Yunus, and replaced by somebody who was the defender, who was defending the people accused of war crimes in the previous process that was going on. So all this doesn't make any sense. There is no authority for the Muhammad Yunus government to change judges. They were changed by the process of mobocracy. The previous judges were surrounded and were forced to step down, and new people have been appointed. All this doesn't give any confidence to the process ongoing in Bangladesh. You spoke, for example, of the call by a National Security Advisor of the USA to Professor Muhammad Yunus. And in that call, Mr. Jake Sullivan spoke about his interest in having a stable, prosperous and democratic Bangladesh. But at the moment, neither of these terms apply to what is happening in Bangladesh. There is no stability in Bangladesh at all. Professor Muhammad Yunus does not seem to be in control. the Jamaat-e-Islami and other Islamist parties and organizations are taking all the decisions without having any authority at all, despite the fact some of them, like from claim to be from Hizb ut-Tahrir, they've been even sworn in as advisors. Hifazat al-Islam members have been sworn in as advisors. So we don't know. Even the whole system of interim government formation cannot be called as a government. It's just a regime or an administration because there is no constitutional validity. So there is no democracy of any kind whatsoever. Neither is there
Absolutely.
any stability,
Yeah.
nor is any prosperity. The economy is going down. So I do not know on what basis this kind of letter and a reminder. We should not make the process of extradition a farcical one. It is a
Okay.
very serious process. It is a serious process based on judicial decisions by a legally valid judiciary. And all this has to be taken into account, has to be given to the Indian government together with a letter before you can even start looking into it. None of this has happened.
All right, all right. We'll try and find those answers. Major Karim, as the United States is now taking note of this entire situation that has emerged in Bangladesh after Yunus government came to power and Sheikh Hasina fled the country, can we expect Dhaka to come up with a response now?
Yeah, thank you. I'm really quite amazed to listen Mrs. Sikri. Basically, she was mentioning about the process. She was mentioning about the democratic status in Bangladesh. Actually, I'll have questions to her that if you truly mention all those things right now, then you should compare the past 15 years, what happened in Bangladesh, especially election in 2014, election in 2018, and every time Sheikh Hasina, that means Awami government, they had not been following the democratic process. And about the Yunus government, the one she was mentioning, that justice and the judicial management or judicial process, the one she was mentioning, right now the judicial process is absolutely okay. Why? Because all on a sudden you cannot do everything or you cannot have a massive change. Actually, at the time of Sheikh Hasina or her during her regime, actually the judicial process or the our judicial department, it was totally polluted. It was totally non-functional. And right now, Dr. Muhammad Yunus and his government is working very actively, but it needs some time. And about US response to US government, yes, Dr. Muhammad Yunus is very positive and he is very proactive. Not only US, he is also he has replied to the European Union, also some other countries of the European community. They have communicated to Bangladesh, and also we are replying the same. And about our the local political parties, Jamaat Islami and BNP and other political parties, they are quite positive towards the Yunus government. Yes, there is one-sided complaint towards Yunus government, that is Awami League. And Awami League, the political party chief, Sheikh Hasina, is staying in India. And I will request our Indian government and also Indian bureaucrats or especially
All
the
right.
media, they should have a very positive gesture towards Bangladesh. Thereby, we can get cooperation from India. If India preoccupiedly shows negative gesture towards this government, we cannot build strong relationships with India.
Okay,
And
Veena
thereby
Sikri, Veena Sikri, do response to what Major Karim has said. And also the question arises is, Sheikh Hasina being in India and with the new government demanding Sheikh Hasina that she must return back to Bangladesh, do you think this situation will really impact the equation between the two countries here?
Our government has been very clear. On the first day itself, we conveyed to the Bangladesh interim regime that we are prepared to talk to them, we are prepared to continue the relationship, and we've always said that we want to carry on the positive, multifaceted development, cooperation, infrastructure development, and all these aspects that have been built with the government of Bangladesh over decades. I mean, since 1971, the open letter we wrote to the people of Bangladesh, signed by more than almost 700 people of India, and conveying that we want friendship, but we want democracy. I think our Prime Minister, in his first message to the new chief advisor, he conveyed that we felicitate you, but we want that there should be security of all the people. What about the attacks on the minorities? The first thing I must say that we have always dealt with an elected government in Bangladesh. What your colleague from Bangladesh is saying that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, oh, the elections were not this or that. The other parties refused to take part in the elections. There were international observers at those elections. International observers were there at every election from all countries, from the EU, from India, from other countries. Now, when you have an internationally certified election, you deal with that government. And India has always dealt with the elected government in Bangladesh. And I've always tried to develop good relations with the elected government in Bangladesh. This is not an elected government in Bangladesh. At the present, it's just a regime which seems to have been sworn in on the constitution, but they are sworn in on a constitution which has no provision for an interim regime of this kind.
True.
And then for the government to come in and say that we will first have reforms and then have elections.
Mr. Karim,
the
do
people
respond.
of Bangladesh seem to be unhappy.
Mr. Karim, do respond to Veena Sikri. And, from Sheikh Hasina's son, he has also talked about the witch hunt that is being carried out by the interim government against his mother as well as the party that she belonged to. Respond to that as well.
Yeah, actually, once I was listening, Mrs. Veena Sikri, that I was feeling the flavor that maybe somebody from, she's the way she is talking, maybe kind of acting spokesperson to Awami League. Actually,
please,
see, you need to be
please,
very,
I want to intervene here, please.
Very much,
I want to intervene here.
Yeah.
There is no such, I am talking as a citizen of India. I am talking as a citizen of India. Please don't make any kind of allegations. You have no right, no authority to make any allegations of any kind. I am talking as a citizen of India who has had the most wonderful friendship during the time that I was in Bangladesh, even though there was the Begum Khalda Zia's government. No kind of political affiliation of any kind. So please do not make any allegations.
Yes, Mr. Karim, please go ahead with your response.
If you truly want a friendship, trust me, we at first need to avoid hate speech. We need to avoid the giving negative speech against Bangladesh, against our, thereby we are increasing communal riots, communal violence.
May I say that we need to avoid attacking the minorities of Bangladesh, the Hindus, the Buddhists, and the Christians. This is not something we are saying. Please stop defining this as Indian media propaganda when the whole world is talking about
there is in fact, Veena Sikri and Major Karim, there is a lot of pressure from across the board on the interim government at the moment. The big question is, how will Yunus government protect the minorities? And has Dhaka launched a witch hunt against Sheikh Hasina? These are the questions that still remain. A big thank you to both of you for joining us and putting your views for all of us.